Never one of the luxury saloon sector's most ostentatious players, the A8 maintains a cool, studied elegance in its design, with the familiar single-frame Audi front grille and LED-embellished headlamps we've seen on lesser models dominating the front end. But that isn't to say that it doesn't have its own distinct personality, not something that really comes across on screen or in pictures, where you'd be forgiven for dismissing it as nothing more than a larger A4. In the metal, or perhaps I should say in the aluminium, it's much more than that, with a sinewy tautness to the lines, with subtle nuances that only impress themselves upon you the closer you look and the longer you spend with the car. It remains an elegant alternative in a sector overpopulated with overt status symbols. And a very cleverly fashioned one, with its unique aluminium space frame construction, 25% more rigid, yet no heavier than before. Is this a better approach than the aluminium monocoque arrangement favoured by the rival Jaguar XJ? Well, the Jag is no lighter, despite not having to haul around quattro all-wheel drive. Draw your own conclusions. As for the size, well, on the face of things, you'd have to expect this third generation model to feel much larger than its predecessors. In response to demand from the Middle East, Asia, and most importantly the US, it is after all 75mm longer, 55mm wider, and 16mm taller than its Mark II predecessor. Mind you, that hasn't led to any real advantage in boot space over its rivals. 510 litres is only about average for this class of car, though it's still enough to handle, say, 4 big golf bags. But maybe all that extra girth has been used in the interior. If it has, then, to be honest, sat back here in the rear, you really wouldn't know it, with overall standards of passenger room pretty much as they were before, though the cabin is now nearly 2 metres wide. It's almost as if Audi is trying to leave room for the pricier long wheelbase body style, which has an extra 130mm of length tacked into its wheelbase. But then, how often do cars of this kind travel, with 3 adults across the back seat? Boardroom buyers rightly place more importance on the way that their carriages can carry 4, and this one does with measured elegance, beautiful ambient lighting, and hand-sanded and varnished wood panels, reminding you of how much you paid. It's the same behind the wheel, a nice blend of craftsmanship fused with technology. The latest version of the excellent MMI control interface marshals the ancillary controls via a colour screen that glides from the dash. It helps keep dreaded button clutter, thankfully, to a minimum. And special mention must be made of the lovely aeronautical style gear lever that makes you feel like you're bringing a 747 into land. I also like the superbly supportive 5-way adjustable powered leather seats, which you can control via graphics on the screen here. And you'll love demonstrating to your friends the touchpad via which you can select a radio station or trace letters to input destinations for the standard satellite navigation system. Really nice options include night vision, which I've got on this car, which highlights pedestrians, and a solar panelled sunroof, which keeps the interior cool if you park the car in the heat.